What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages? It is Jerry, and it's time, once again, for some first impressions. I just got out of Transcendence, which is the new film directed by longtime cinematographer Wally Pfister. You probably know a lot of his work from most of Christopher Nolan's films and the ton of other stuff he's done. But this is his debut as a director, and it's a pretty interesting movie. I'm gonna start someplace different, just because I feel the need to. This movie kind of illustrates, again, what I don't like about aggregate rating systems, like Rotten Tomatoes, because while this movie is not perfect, I really think 19% is a pretty poor indicator for the quality level of this movie. But anyhow, onto the film itself. Transcendence is definitely an ambitious movie. You get the sense that Wally Pfister wants to make a big splash with his directorial debut, and I do gotta give the film credit for that, because as mixed and in some cases like really negative as some of the reviews have been here, I do always prefer a movie that has too many ambitions to a film that's just lazy. And this film isn't lazy by any stretch. I don't think. This is a sort of ethically concerned science fiction movie. It has a lot of questions about human consciousness versus artificial intelligence, and when is too much technology and too much blurring of the line between consciousness and technology a bad thing or a good thing, or any of that. First of all, the cast in this movie for the most part is really spot on. Rebecca Hall is fantastic. Paul Bettany is fantastic. It's nice to see Johnny Depp acting again in a role that isn't Jack Sparrow or a similar kind of a thing. I like Jack Sparrow, and I even like the Lone Ranger, but it seems like those characters are really easy for him to do and really fun for him to do, but I've been wanting him to go back to a little bit more of a serious role for a while. And at least as I'm feeling right now, he does come across as kind of rusty in this movie, which is a bummer, but he's not bad. I don't think he's bad, but I certainly hope he does more of these sorts of films, shake that rust off. And the rest of the cast is good. Morgan Freeman's in here, Cillian Murphy's in here, Clifton Collins Jr. pops up, Josh Stewart pops up, who I love. I hope he continues to get work. A lot of people, are on loan from the Christopher Nolan wheelhouse. And, the film itself is alright. I like it. There's definitely stuff to be admired here. There's a lot of gorgeous cinematography, there's some really cool effects, but beyond that, there are some really great scenes, there are some really great performances, and there are some beautiful and interesting ideas, and there are some palpably scary and unsettling ideas. And it doesn't feel tonally like your stereotypical, sci-fi epic. There is some really wonderful human stuff in here, and that's definitely to be appreciated. It's not, your big, loud, sci-fi movie. There's a bit of action here and there, but it's certainly not a blow-up movie by any stretch. Does it always work? No, partly because there are times when, at least I got pulled out, kind of thinking, well, wait a minute, I get that you're sort of set in a version of the world where these things are possible, but you kind of gotta at least fill in some of the gaps. To me, the stuff that kind of hampers this movie from time to time is basically the sense that the ideas it wants to explore are perhaps bigger than the intelligence of the script itself. There are certain times where I found myself getting caught up on, like, wait a minute, why didn't somebody catch this? Or how did this become possible now? There are times when it seems like it's sort of counting on you just to fill in the gaps. And sometimes the pacing is a little uneven, but I definitely like it more than I don't. And there are a lot of things to appreciate about it. It's definitely worth checking out. I'm interested to see how I'm going to feel tomorrow when we sit down and do the actual review, and I'm interested to see how I'm going to feel in a week or two. It's certainly worth checking out. It brings up some interesting ideas, and it does have an elegant touch with at least some of them. It does succeed on some levels if it doesn't succeed on all of them. So I think it does certainly deserve some credit. It's not like a, bullshit waste of time by any stretch of the imagination. There is a lot of care and effort in here. It doesn't always come across as capable of selling and really coming to conclusions on the ideas it puts out there all the time. And that's an element that sort of always seems a bit problematic with movies like these. We've created a computer with an artificial intelligence, and it's doing things that we would never have been capable of, and it's omnipresent, and it's everywhere, and it's creating new technology. And I feel like that can sort of back a filmmaker into a corner in terms of how can we make it plausible when anyone takes a stand against this thing. So these movies have a tendency to kind of pile stuff on and get really, really big in terms of implications and things that start happening. And that chain reaction isn't bad, and there is some really cool stuff that comes out of it, but especially toward the end, there are a couple of moments where you're like, whoa, wait, hold on a second, what? You know, but there's certainly some stuff that's worth checking out here. Everyone involved seems really committed and really into it. There's a lot of tender love and care that went into this movie. It seems like it's not entirely successful, but it's worth checking out. It does give you something to think about and some stuff to talk about. And for someone who's a first-time director with a film of this scale, you know, it's certainly not bad. And it's also a first-time writer, so you know, it's big money and big toys, but it's also a couple guys who are cutting their teeth still in terms of, you know, writing and directing. So, it's admirable, you know. Definitely let me know what you think. What's your favorite sci-fi flick recently? What's something new that's tickling your fancy? And as always, comment, subscribe, check us out on the tweets and on Facebook, and until next time, Transcendence is the film. I am Jerry. Cheers.